American indigenous people have been cultivating this land for centuries. In fact, it's why my ancestors were forced here. And while big farming has seen billions of dollars in US subsidies go almost exclusively to its white farmers, the black farmer of America has been systematically excluded, almost to the point of eradication.
At the turn of the century, we owned 20 million acres of land. Today, we're down to 4.5 million acres.
Does that make you mad? It makes me so mad.
Food, or lack thereof, is power. So today, I'm meeting some unsung heroes who are working to take that power back.
If you're not the source of your food, if someone is feeding you, then you're really not free.
I'll be examining this broken food chain and asking some tough questions along the way. And the first of many, where have the Emancipation Proclamation?
And so, basically, this is hitting the topic that I talked about before about the black farmers. You know, they had a lawsuit, and the craziest part about having this lawsuit where you literally Johnny come too late over, I say, hundreds of black farmers had their land stripping from them. I'm talking about upwards of maybe 20, now I would say at least 2,000 acres or more. You know, just that's the minimum, at least 2,000 acres or more. Pretty much during the time where, go back into the days where, you know, civil rights before that, and, you know, just a lot of people were sharecroppers, you know, and my family endured this. A lot more people in family endured this. A lot of people, you know, came across as slaves because they worked the land, but more or less were sharecroppers. They owned the land and they sold their crops to, you know, which be companies, distributors, or something of that nature. And if they don't buy, all the planting that they did, they have to go to waste. So they would either have to sell to people in the local area that'll buy, because most people didn't have trucks to take out to the big city and sell, you know, at the farmer's market, which they had, where a lot of people was doing. So they ultimately had issue with selling their crop. And if they can't sell their crop, they can't make, you know, certain payments on tools, mortgage, things of that nature. If you don't own the land and you're a sharecropper, pretty much every time the harvest comes, you're paying off a debt. You're basically trying to make ends meet. You're not really focused on, you know, making a profit. You're focused on keeping your land. And it got to a point where a lot of people didn't keep their land. I looked at the documentary on Vice where there was a guy in Mississippi. He was third generation sugarcane farmer. And all his equipment, everything, just one day had the notice on the door, had to say the banks gave him his loan late, so he wasn't able to pretty much put out the seeds and everything for sugarcane. So he had a late harvest. And then what being a late harvest, the company that normally buys his sugarcane only bought half of his sugarcane. He's still on the whole to give the bank their money, which they gave him a loan for, and still pay his mortgage and everything that he was backed up on, you know. And that was the thing. They would sit here, give him so much money, and the money would go towards the product, the feed and everything to fix for the crop. And then they, knowing that he will have a big payout, will hold out until he gets the big payout to either pay the loan down and pay his mortgage all at the same time, or pay a portion of whatever seems fit. And it was to the point where this guy ended up, when they bought half of his crop, that wasn't enough to pay the loan and to pay for his mortgage. So the land that his family owned for 3 generations, you could tell there was a lot of refinancing going on just to stay afloat, to the degree where they got the land and some guy came on there in a matter of months, bought the land, sugarcane the land, and was exceeding expectations with his sugarcane being sold. So, needless to say, you know, you can say it's not a racial thing, but biasly it is. And, to the point, hey, we have this situation still in America. There are some good folks that on different sides that, kind of work with us, and there are folks that, just opt for self. So at the end of the day, it's a thing of survival of the fittest. And, when you're the dealer, you have the upper hand. When you're the person that's playing the game, it's a game of chance. So needless to say, a lot of people, especially in the black community, are playing the game of chance and have to learn how to, step the game up and be the owner, not the renter. So understanding that if we sell to our people, we have to do a better job of communication and working with each other, just as the renter needs to talk to the owner and better suit them. The owner can talk to the renter and better suit them as well. Because there are people that have long-term tenants and they don't destroy the property, they pay on time, and some people don't go up on their rent. There's people that, go through situations. Most of the time you let, landlords know they work with you. There was a situation at one point, I didn't pay my rent for about 4 months and came back, paid it all in a lump sum. Excuse me, because I had a payout coming out for something that was a situation with a job that I was dealing with, and got that situation rectified and everything was good. But it comes a time where, you have to understand what side of the tracks are you on. And this example of the farmers having the issue, just even with the state, I'm going to be brief and I'm going to jump off of this one. They had a situation to where they were buying seeds from a company that were giving them bad seeds. The seeds that they bought were giving a yield of 20% fertilization. And the competitors who were buying the same seeds from the same company were getting a yield of 80 and 90%, where they were growing crops. So they ended up having the seeds tested and found out that the company were purposely giving them bad seeds that didn't grow, and took them to court and actually won. So that seed company got sued, had to pay the money out. But that's the thing. There's all things of setbacks to, kind of get people from actually cropping and end up ultimately trying to sell their property, hanging on by a thread, and to the last minute, they take the property, they pay you the money. You have a large lump sum of, $220 million, but you have no land. So now you have to go in the business of shopping to buy land. At this market, it's out of most people's reach to buy a decent land, because you have to, watch the soil, see how good the soil is for growing, and certain soils grow different things, and you have to cultivate that land to grow what you're trying to grow. And, dealing with the soil and all that, it depends. So needless to say, hey, as black farmers, a lot of them end up getting their just due by this lawsuit. But just like they said, a lot of them haven't even been paid out on this. Even though the lawsuits was granted to where the farmers received some type of back pay and restitution, how many farmers actually got their money? Most of those farmers got a percentage of that money. That's the thing. When the state pays, they can pay in installments, but majority of the time, they want their money up front, and they can kind of work with you to a degree, but they're looking for the money up front, off back. But I'm gonna get out of here, and I'm gonna put the link to this video. It's on Instagram, and I'm gonna try to see if I can find that documentary and put it in the description as well, so you can have an overview of what you're looking at. And shout out to everybody coming through. Let me hit this heart, and we go.